are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideals. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the hosts and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this show begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the L.I.C.K Show, Hits 92.3, the real definition of internet radio. And I am super excited because I have been trying to get this interview from this celebrity.
Not at all.
My ex-husband, my baby daddy, Tori. Hey, Tori.
Hey, Marquille.
How are you?
I'm good.
Not him calling my government name out.
Yeah, I'm not used to the stage name. So
look, I'm just regular old Marquille to him. So I've been trying to get you on this show for a long time, specifically because a lot of people always ask me, how do we have such a great relationship? Like, how do we keep the co-parenting going after divorce? I even tell people, even the story of when we got divorced, like we were sitting in court together and the judge was like, are y'all sure y'all want to get a divorce? Because we back there laughing at everybody else's problems.
Yep.
So just hearing from your end, because my listeners, like as I've had the L.I.C.K Show for years and years and years, they've heard like bits and pieces of like different scenarios that I would use you as an example of things that I would go through. So just from your end of it, the minute we divorced into going into co-parenting, just for men, how do you feel like that whole process worked for you?
I feel like once you get past all the discomfort or hurt or pain or whatever, then after that, you just put the kids first. And nothing else matters after that because they didn't ask to be here. So I feel like it's our job to make an uncomfortable situation for them comfortable. So you have to put what we felt at the time aside and focus on them.
Do you feel like that was easy, hard? Like what was your process into that?
I think you just have to. I think it's hard in the beginning, and then at the as time goes on, it gets easier. So I think just gradually, you'll grow, and then it just comes. After a while, you put everything else aside and put them first, and let's go from there.
So I feel like with a lot of the parents today, there's a lot of stipulations and I guess I won't even disagree that negative feedback when it comes to men. They feel like fathers aren't really present. But in my personal life, I have way more male friends and 100% of those male friends take care of their kids. So I don't necessarily agree with that saying, but the statistic is, I can never say that word, it's still there. Like it's still out there for the world. Like it's always more men not taking care of their kids than women, but we're finding out more and more just because the woman has her kids doesn't necessarily mean that she's taking great care of her kids. So do you feel like your relationship with them when we separated has been challenging with me, or do you feel like just of relationships you had with other people, like your male friends, do they have the same situation as you? Do you feel like their co-parenting relationship is good like yours or not as good, however you feel? Or do you feel like it's opposite?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I don't have any friends, but yeah, the ones, the male friends I do have, yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the same, like, for instance, Drew and Leroy, like, yeah, it's the same. They do kind of the same thing. Like, they're friends with all their baby moms and they have the kids a lot and they take care of the kids that they should, so yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I would say that too, like of my male friends, like they take care of their kids. They get their kids on the weekends. Sometimes during the week, they go to their games and stuff like that. So when I hear the stories of men not taking care of their kids, I personally don't relate.
Right.
Because one, I don't go through that either. And then I personally know some females that are like mom and dad. And I know men hate when women say that, like they try to celebrate Father's Day. I don't agree with that. Women celebrating Father's Day. You had Mother's Day, but you're still, even though you're like a full-time parent, you don't get to celebrate both holidays.
Right.
So I can understand where they come from sometimes when they feel as though the dads aren't around. What would you say to those fathers that aren't taking care of their kids, aside just saying, just take care of your kids?
I don't know how they do it because I can't even picture my life without my kids, I don't know. I feel like you might just not understand how to take care of your kids, or maybe you came from that same situation. Your dad went there, which to me would seem like you would want to be there because you know how I felt. But yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't. Like, we bring somebody into this world and they didn't ask to be here. They should come first, no matter what else you're going through or y'all went through or whatever. If you can't stand your baby mama, y'all just meet somewhere in the middle and drop them off and keep it moving.
You keep it moving.
Yeah, you ain't gotta have a conversation with them or none of that, you know.
And I agree with that too. The dropping off, even if y'all just cannot get along, being in the same space or meeting up with each other. Have a grandparent or a brother or sister or a friend, somebody else like, Sunshine, I'm about to drop these kids off to you. Can you meet Tori? Because I don't want to see Tori. I don't want to talk to him. Nothing like that. Has there ever been any challenges with me? I know it's weird sitting here talking to me, but do you feel like there's any challenges that you've had with me in any area that might be difficult to where you could have, like, I could have changed it up a little bit, or just advice you can give to women when it comes to being the father of the kids?
Challenges with you, I would say only probably when your ex-husband was involved. He tried to put a strain between us, but like I always tell everybody, like, they be like, blah blah blah. I'm like, first of all, I've been knowing Kale forever, so half her life basically.
Yeah.
So
literally most of my life.
So even when you would kind of snap at me or whatever, 9 times out of 10 I knew it was because of him. So I never blamed you, and I was like, whatever, you know, this is my thing, this Kale, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the kids would be all nervous. I'd be like, don't worry about y'all mama, I got it. I'd be like, I got it. It's okay. You know, let me deal with it, you know. But not no real issues, not nothing that I couldn't handle, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing really.
So that is something major. One, make sure you know who you marry. I'm going to say that to all the cameras. Make sure you know who you marry, and never be in a relationship seriously with someone who is going to cause confusion, disruption, and interrupt your peace. And I feel like with that relationship, I'm just going to be blunt. I'm always a blunt, transparent, honest person. With that relationship, I allowed him to come in between a lot of relationships where he has always been Tori. Tori has always been A1 with me. He's always been transparent. He's always been there. Even when I started businesses, and it took a lot of time, it took a lot of money, he literally stepped in damn near like a full-time parent, to a point where he might not have had them physically, but if they wanted to play sports, he was like, I got it. If they needed shoes, clothes, Kamora getting her hair done, like all of that stuff, he made sure he took care of the extras so that my extra can go into building Hits 92.3. And I remember I used to always say, when I become a millionaire, I'm buying Tori a house. I used to say that it's still on my bucket list, because if it wasn't, look, he said, I'll take it. If it wasn't for him in a lot of areas, I may not have been able to live the life that I was able to live. One, with the freshness of that second marriage, and trying to build a relationship.
Right.
Because he was never that bitter ex-husband to where I hear some women say stuff like, because I got in a new relationship, like now he won't get the kids, or because I won't answer the phone, or because he can't come over here, he won't talk to the kids. So I'm just thankful of you for that, for sure. When it comes to relationships now, even then, how was your process with me having a new husband with the kids? What was your mindset of how to handle that situation?
As far as
just on a day-to-day, like how we would move with each other, single versus in a relationship. And when I say that, it's nothing sexual. Like, we literally, when we separated in 2011, last of anything sexual. Right. But we do still to this day take the kids once a month to go eat, or we do something with the kids, even though they're 17 and 22, they grown as hell. Right. We still have that bond that we have with the kids, and we're literally friends outside of the kids. So when you are, I'll even put it on you, when you're in a new relationship, or when I'm in a new relationship, in your mind, how do you structure our relationship with our kids and our friendship?
So first of all, the first thing I tell any woman I ever dated is my kids come first. And me and my ex-wife are super cool. So if you can't handle that, then we just ain't gonna work. Cause like, I'm not gonna put them, I'm not gonna put you before them, and I'm not gonna put her to the side to make you comfortable, meaning you. So I go into it with their understanding. If they can't handle it, then I'm sorry, I tell them family events, she might be there.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, she might be there. So if you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you. I tell them it's platonic, like nothing ever happened since we got divorced or whatever. Also, I would tell them we do things once a month with the kids,
Yep. And that ain't changing.
That ain't changing.
That is not changing.
So basically, you're going to be in my life for the rest of my life because we have kids together. Mm-hmm. And then we're friends. So if they can't handle it, I don't know what to tell them. That's how I handle it from people I've dated.
Yeah.
I had one that really was, the one I'm talking about, but even then, like,
she wasn't too cool with it.
She wasn't too cool with it. But again, I told you going into it. Now, after that, it's on you. But, still, I'm never going to put any woman before my kids, ever. I don't care how old you get.
He literally means that because he never put me before those kids either. And I remember one time you were in a different relationship, and I talk about this often too. Just to, like, he is consistent with who he is and how he moves. So I remember you were in one relationship, really liked her. Towards the end, we was a little rocky, but it is what it is. And you all were supposed to be going on a trip. I don't know if it was a cruise or whatever. And you was like, you got to make sure you take Tay to the game Saturday because I won't be here. Mm-hmm. Cool. You ended up calling me later that week and was like, never mind, you don't have to take them. And I was like, oh, okay, well, did the game get canceled? Because, I usually meet y'all there. Mm-hmm. And you was like, no, it's a whole tournament, so it's going to be all day on Saturday. I'm like, I don't get why. What does that have to do with your trip? You was like, oh, I'm not going to go. I'm confused. You was like, because Tay has a tournament. Sir, that man will play sports the rest of his life, in his youth life. You can miss one Saturday to go on a trip with your girlfriend. And remember I said, this is the issues we had because you didn't put us before the kids. Yeah. It's okay to do for one day. So I was glad that you did that. But that goes to show he don't play about his kids. Like any woman, even his wife, is going to come second to those kids. And they are well loved. They're well taken care of. They're well treated. They're well mannered. And that goes to show of what you put in.
Right.
So to answer my own question as far as how I move in relationships, I did it a little different and I had to learn the hard way because we had to rebuild our friendship. When I got into that marriage, I did put Tori to the side because I'm like, now I got a new relationship. He feels uncomfortable with our friendship and nobody is coming above my husband.
Understandable.
And so, again, know who you marry.
Right.
So just because he was my husband doesn't mean, and I'm not going to say me, just because you are married to someone, if you are friends with someone, if you are in business with someone, doesn't mean that person is a good person for you. They don't even necessarily mean they're a bad person. They may not just be a good fit for you. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that second one was just not a good fit for me. And I put a lot of things in perspective afterwards to where any relationship after that one, from the ground running, it was, one, I don't cook. I'm going to always put that out there. And two, if you got a problem with my ex-husband being in my life, then you might as well just keep it moving. I've always made sure if I'm talking to somebody that I felt like it was going to be something serious, that, you know how you have, like, when you're in a relationship with somebody, they meet your parents? You got to meet Tori. And then if you get through Tori, not to say that he's going to be like yes, no, or he would probably never say no. Hopefully you will, because you should have on that one. Hopefully he will be like, because he has a good discernment of people. He won't never really say no, but if he feels a certain way about a certain person or how I'm moving and it's like changing me too much, I love our friendship to the point that he would tell me something like that. So I would never get in another relationship to where I have to remove people from my life to make you feel comfortable, right. Especially if those people have been around like decades. Like he said, we've been together since I was 14. I'm 42, so I literally know him my whole 17. Life. I was just turning 17.
Yeah, 17.
Yep. So I literally at one point we had, who was the other woman? I want to know. That's your sister. He talking about who had an issue? That's what you're talking about, Tiffany? Who had an issue?
Oh.
He ain't trying Danielle. To say no. Oh, he about as blunt as me.
It was Danielle.
I never really knew Daniel. And let me play more into that. So even though we both have a rule to where we be in a relationship with other people, that we won't date somebody that has a problem with our relationship. Your family, your dad specifically, is always asking like, why I'll come around so heavily and then I don't come around at all. And he's just like what happens? Like, what's going on? So I'll explain it now while I'm on air. When I start to pull away is when you get in a relationship with someone. And it's not because I'm jealous or territorial or anything like that. I just feel like if I'm getting in a relationship with someone and I'm like to a point where I'm meeting their family and I'm getting ready to come around, I don't know how I feel about their ex-wife coming around every time I'm around.
Right.
So I want that woman to like have her time and have her shine with your family. When you're single, yeah, I'm coming around. Nana Lane, shout out to Nana Lane, who has a show here at Hits 92.3 Faith 3T every Monday at 6 p.m. So she's still my mama. I called her my ex-mother-in-law one day and she damn near broke down in tears. She's like, don't you ever call me that again. So she is still my mother-in-law. And hopefully if you ever get remarried, she doesn't have a problem with me calling her my mother-in-law. Peaches, Tiff, all them still my sisters. So when I get into relationships or when you get into relationships, I pull back not because of anything on my end, but because I want that woman to feel more comfortable getting to know the kids, getting to know your family, and just feeling comfortable without me why can't I freaking talk? Coming into it so strong. Because she doesn't necessarily have to be my friend. I don't want her to feel like I got to be cool with her to get to him. So I just kind of fall back a little bit and I talk to them on my individual time. I won't necessarily come around at Christmas or come around at Thanksgiving like I would if either one of us was single. Right. So that's just kind of how I move with it.
I mean, I understand it, but again, like they already know this going into it. So, but I think I probably would prefer y'all to meet on an individual basis, just so y'all can get comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
More so she get comfortable with you because, like you said, you know, you've been around forever, and then she's just new to everybody. So
right.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
So she can build her own relationships and stuff like that. Because one of your exes, she became really close with your family. And I don't know if it would have been that way if I would have come around and been like, oh, y'all like her? You know how you can kind of put a seed in people's head, like be all in Peach's ear, like, ooh, don't talk to her because da-da-da-da-da. So yeah, I didn't want to be her.
Right.
I didn't want to be the baby mama who is got a man over here but still hanging on to this one over here. So just a little advice to women when you're dealing with your kid's father after you have split up, regardless of if you feel like you want to be back with that man or you hate the fact that he's moved on and you hate to see him with someone else or you are lonely, whatever the case is, separate your feelings from your kids. Separate your life from his life. No matter how hard it seems to be, that's kind of something like you literally have to do.
Yeah.
Because kids are watching. Like no matter how old they are, they know everything.
Yeah.
They just
really
know.
Do. Yeah, they really do.
They be like, for instance, I was trying to I asked Kamora, was she coming? Kamora's our daughter. So I was asking, was she coming up here? And she was like, ew, no. I said, what you think we about to be talking about? We ain't talking about nothing other than y'all and just like co-parenting. In 2024. And she's like, no, daddy already asked me. I'm not going.
Yeah, I said.
I thought she was playing.
I said, are you going to listen? She was like, no, I'm good. I was like, why y'all won't listen?
Such unsupportive.
Like, I don't need to hear that. I was like, all right.
Need to hear what? And our son texted us and he was like, y'all late, which we did start kind of late into this episode. But I wish they was here so they can tell like their end of how co-parenting was with them.
We should have done that.
Yeah. So one time, okay, this is for when, how do I want to say this? When your other partner, when your co-parenter moves on into a new relationship and they meet the kids. So at one point, I was overcompensating because we weren't together. It was almost like I never told them no. Whether I had the money to do it, whether I had the time to do it, it was never a no with them because I'm like, well, you know, we separated or we divorced and, you know, they got 2 households now. So I want to make sure they have this and have that. Do you ever feel like you did that?
Nah, I didn't.
He don't play that anyway. He don't mind saying no.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't have it. So I'm not going to put myself in a hole. I mean, I did everything I could to make them feel comfortable. But like you said, I was going to overcompensate.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that.
I remember one relationship you were in. She started taking Kamora to get her nails done. And ooh wee, I was pissed. But I would never let anybody know it. I'd be at home just crying like, she trying to take my kids. But I was never the confrontational type of person. So I never tried to keep them from going over there when he would go over to her house or even when y'all lived together or anything like that. That had to be something that I had to check within myself because that was a personal problem. So it was like I didn't want her doing her nails. I didn't want her paying for her hair. I didn't want her buying that laptop for her birthday. I said at this birthday party, like she bought her exactly what she wanted, like this one big gift, and she bought it for her. So someone had to sit me down and was like, think about it. Like your kids are benefiting when you want your kids to be around somebody who cares about them. So I had to think like that, like, dang, if she's taking her to get her nails done, obviously she's enjoying the bonding time that she's having with her, which my daughter feels comfortable being around her. You want her to be around somebody that her dad's with that likes her because she could have been touching on her.
Right.
She could have been beating on her and she could have been treating her like crap.
Yeah.
So that's the opposite of that.
Kind of made her feel excluded when her and her daughter was doing stuff, but she's always included her in whatever he was doing.
Yep.
So yeah, I appreciated it, and like even things I would say no to, she might go buy, like if like for instance a laptop. I'm like, I'm not buying no laptop for her birthday. The next thing I know, she will have it.
Yes, Tori is very, very, very frugal.
I was like, she don't need a laptop, and she's like, why? She asked for. I'm like, well, if you want her to get a laptop, you buy the laptop.
And she did.
So I was like, I can't say nothing. It's her money.
And she did. Right. And shout out to her helping her build the one that she has at the house too. Even after the fact, even after you all broke up. So she really did care about the kids. I remember one time when they came home and Kamora was like, she cussed at them. I'm about to snap. So I was like, wait, let me find out the whole story first. So she was like, they didn't clean the kitchen. So I was like, whose turn was it to clean the kitchen? She was like, I don't know. I said, well, who all was she talking to? Was she just talking to you? She said, no, she was yelling through the house talking to everybody. Girl, bye. If that's how she disciplined her kids, well, that's just how I can't control that she cusses at her kids.
Right.
If you getting cussed out and her kids are getting cussed out, all y'all getting cussed out. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Everybody was getting cussed out. Everybody was getting cussed out. That's what she came. Yeah, she's right. She came in the house yelling because the kitchen was dirty, and she was yelling expletives like, "Come down here and clean my blah 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 kitchen," because you know they'll go in there and cook, and especially Kamora specific.
Still to this day,
that girl's so lazy. But anyway,
still to this day,
she would definitely leave her mess behind. But yeah, absolutely, she did. But the thing was, she treated our kids like she treated her kids. So you can't do nothing but appreciate that. Absolutely. Like you say, even to this day, like if Kamora call her for something right now, she'll do it.
Yep.
She'll ask her whatever, and she'll be like, if she had the time, she would do it. She absolutely would.
So I haven't met your current girlfriend, but of all of the ones prior to, of course, Maisha is my absolute favorite. Right. She was before me. Let's talk about that too. She was before me, but the one that we were just talking about, she was my favorite. It took we had our ups and downs, and all of our ups and downs had nothing to do with me and her and you. It was really the kids and how the kids were either getting along this time or they weren't getting along this time would be if I was mad at her or not. Right. So it had nothing to do with her personally. I still like her to this day. She helped me find out some stuff I needed to find out on somebody else. So shout out to her. I'm not saying her name, but yeah. So she was a very good person that you had around the kids. You said her name, Danielle. I never really got a chance to be around Danielle. I remember when we all went to Top Golf. And I tried so hard to like make her inclusive of everything we were doing. But my sister Melissa was there too. So we were trying to like, come over here with us or do this and do that. She just kind of was like, no. Yeah, so I was like, oh, okay.
She just had just insecure, but you know.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep. I had those too. Yeah. But it was something that Tiffany wrote that I wanted to. It went off so fast I didn't get to see it. She had a whole. Okay. It was another point that I was going. Oh, okay. Yeah. So when we first got together, again, hold on, let me read this first. She said, "Well, honey, my ex-husband's baby mama we're not like that. They used to send us the Christmas list with the most expensive gifts on them." Yeah, she said they got it. She said they got it. Yeah, we always seem to be able to coordinate with things.
Mm-hmm.
And my golden rule is, and this might not work for every female, it's the Pisces in me, I guess. Shout out to Kamora. She watched it anyway. So she on my live right now on Instagram. If you want to see us, what's the YouTube? Because we got two different ones. Media. Radio. Okay, if you want to see us instead of just listening to us, you can go to YouTube at Hits923. Oh yeah, type in the L.I.C.K Show, L.I.C.K Show, and you can check us out on there. What was I about to say before I got to the Maisha part? What were we just saying? Look, I'm old now. If I don't say it right then, it's a wrap. I saw Kamora and I got excited. I don't know. It'll probably come back to me. But when I first met him, I was 17. I had just turned 17 years old. And you were 18, 19, 20, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And virgin, everything. Never had a serious relationship. Never had a relationship outside of like a month or two. And then I'm like, So when we first got together, I was a little nervous because he had a child already. And so I'm like, dang, I ain't even having sex yet, and this man already got a kid. So we're in two totally different worlds right now. But what attracted him to me the most is you taking on a child that wasn't biologically yours from a previous relationship. I have come to realize that I am a lot of different from most females, and just different mentality of most people in general. But for me to have the mentality I had at 17 years old, thinking about that at 42, I was like, dang, like who thinks of stuff like that? So while he was in having, his child, and he was making sure he took care of him and not finding out, like learning over time that it wasn't his biological child, I'm like, dang, he's a really, really good person with a really good character, because most men wouldn't do that. When the relationship is over, deuces to you and your kids. Right. What made you keep that bond with him, and it had to be like a good relationship with her for you to even want to do that for her?
So Monty was just about to turn 2 when I met her. So basically I helped raise him, much like my kids. Like, he didn't ask for me to come into his life. So once his mom went to the military, it wasn't right for me to abandon him, because I mean his mom was already leaving. And I was the only dad he knew. Yeah. He used to literally call me my dad.
Yeah, I remember that.
My dad.
My dad.
So for me to just push him to the side because his mom was going to the military, like I'm not built like that. I can't come into a kid's life. I'm the only male figure that was around. I had him like every weekend, or we was together every other weekend or whatever. So I couldn't just see myself abandoning him because his mom went to the military. So I mean, he was like my child. He's my kid.
My dad. Yeah. Monty used to say my dad all the time. So when I say about the mentality I had, it wasn't necessarily just, okay, so he has a child, let me just jump in as stepmom. I was like, I want to meet her. So we scheduled a meetup. We all went to dinner. And I remember Drew for years was like, how you make that happen? We all, at the age of 17, I sat down with Tori and his baby mama, Maisha. And as we were sitting there talking, I was like, he got a type. We were literally the same. When I say me and Maisha clicked so fast, we literally are like the same person even now. So I was like, yeah, this man got a type. Yeah. And she's exactly like me. When I came into the picture, I never had an issue with Maisha. She was never overbearing. She never tried to keep her son away. She was actually like trying to get to know me as a person. And we hit it off super fast. And we actually have a book out together too. So people are always like, well, how'd you feel about him and his baby mama and blah, blah, blah. Like, I always tell people we have an actual book. She's actually been a guest on my show whenever she's come to Atlanta, like two or three different times. She has businesses too. So every time she's in town, come promote your business or just talk. We even had an episode where we talked about being sister baby mamas. And like we sister baby mama. So if he ever, I remember like on Facebook, like years and years ago, it would be something. I don't know if you've been like talking to somebody, and then she'll tag me like, what he think he doing? Here we coming too. So shout out to Maisha, who has never, ever, ever made my life a living hell as a baby mama. And well, you already said you ain't having no more kids, so we both lucked out. We don't have kids with anybody else, and I don't plan on having any kids with anybody else. But last year, that's all I wanted. I wanted a baby. He was like, "You're crazy."
Tripping.
Yeah, I even asked him.
Tripping.
I was like, "I know we ain't together, but I don't want a different baby daddy." He was like, "Hell no."
Tripping. That was a phase.
Put it in a tube. Give it to me. I wanted twins, y'all.
You thought you
I
did.
was 41, so I'm 42 now. At 41 years old, I was researching what do you need to eat? What do you need to do to have twins? I literally was trying to have a baby up until this year.
Like, why would you want to start all the way over?
I know. I look back now and I'm like, girl, you was crazy.
You was tripping.
I wanted the husband. I wanted the kids. I wanted the white picket fence. Now I want a high rise in the city. I still want a man. Not right now. I'm working on me. But the kid can go too. And I said, if I ever had one and it didn't work out, that kid is going to live with their daddy full time. And I'll get the kid on the weekend. Because I just wanted and the reason I did is because I feel like with ours, I wasn't financially in a place that I wanted to be in at the peak of their age, like getting up there in age, because I was building this. So financially, I felt like this next child would have everything that I would have wanted Kamora and Tavy to have. Like going on trips. The kids have been way more places than I have ever been. And I keep saying my age, 42. I still have not traveled the world. And they've been way more places than I've been. So I was like, okay, that kid would be able to travel. I didn't learn Spanish. I wish I would have made them learn Spanish. That kid is going to make sure, like, take lessons for Spanish, some type of instrument, like all the things that I felt like financially I couldn't do while they were younger, or not even just financially, just the mindset that I have now versus then. I feel like I'm way more wiser, and that child would just have a better outcome, and I'd be more present in their life. So that was my whole thing. But yeah, that's gone out the window.
Yeah, thank goodness. You was bugging for real.
He hating, y'all. He hating. You said you too? Yeah, she wasn't playing. You want to say what you did? No, I ain't talking about me. I'm talking about for you.
Oh, yeah. No,
she ain't having no more.
I got my tubes tied.
Just randomly this year, like a couple
for real?
months ago. Not even a scare. Just up one day was like, Kels, I'm about to get my tubes tied. What?
Hey.
Look, Rain got me insurance, and I went to call it. So how much would it cost? And it's like, oh, it would cost me. I'm like, for real?
Oh, it's free?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I need to, before I change my mind again.
I ain't mad at that,
If it's gone, then ain't nothing I can do about it.
I'm not mad at that, Sunshine.
Would you ever get a vasectomy?
Nah.
But you don't want no more kids.
Nope.
So if you had another one, it'll just be that.
I ain't having them though.
How do you can't prevent that?
Yes, you can.
The 100% way to prevent is to not have sex 100% of the time.
I've been this long. Let's see, 17 Kamora, right?
Oh, that's true.
So
That's
17
true.
years.
So no scares.
No scares.
Really?
No scares. No.
Interesting. Cause Tay was with a condom. Right.
Yeah, Tay was
Tay was like, oops.
well, I mean, I was younger. You know
We
what I
were.
mean? Yeah. So,
Yeah. I remember like a year or two after we had Tavy, I begged him for another child. We married and everything. He like, no. He's like, would you want a car instead? So I got the car, and then maybe a year later, I was right back to it, and I got the car and the baby. Shout out to Kamora.
Yeah, we had Kamora, let's see, 5 years after Tay.
5 years after Tay. Yeah, that was a long process of begging and pleading because that man was like, no.
But you know what's crazy about that? We both didn't want a girl.
We did not want a girl.
Wanted a boy so bad.
I love her to death, but Kamora, I did not want you as a girl. I was just telling Sunshine yesterday that I wanted to name if it was gonna be a boy, Huanye. You was like, hell no.
That's what you wanted Tay name to be.
Oh, it was Tay.
Yeah.
It was Tay. Yeah. Shout out to
Wanye.
Boys to Men, Wanye. I still like that name. It just didn't work for me. He
Yep.
just was not gonna go for it. Oh, speaking of not going for it, that's what I was gonna say when I couldn't remember my point. If you are in a co-parenting relationship and you cannot seem to get along or make rash decisions, you have to know who you are as a person. But I feel like sometimes we didn't always agree, but I would always let you be the deciding vote. And I know that probably won't work for a lot of females. And the reason I did it that way is because I'm an emotional person. My decisions are based off of emotion more than logic. It's funny when it comes to relationship, it's completely opposite. But when it comes to certain things, I go off of emotion of how I feel. So when we are like neck and neck on trying to make decisions with the kids, think about who is the more responsible parent, for one. Two, who makes the most rational decisions, for two. And then let that be the person that makes the deciding vote. It's sometimes where he won't care. If he don't care, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I'm just gonna do whatever. But if he's like, no, I'm like, ooh, that means no. Your dad said no. Why? So even now, they're 22 and 17. If they ask me something, if they was to call in right now, what's my very first response? Ask your dad. And they grown as hell. Kamora live in the house with me full time. He lives with you full time. It's still ask your dad. She wanted a tattoo recently. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know if your dad gonna let you do that. She's like, he ain't gotta know. I ain't finna argue with your daddy. You think I'm finna go against Tori? And Tori never says no. He don't argue. He don't yell. But I still ain't finna say no to this man. And I don't know. Again, it's just the Pisces thing. I feel like the man, whatever. But when it comes to the kids, Tori is my deciding factor. Whatever he says goes. Now, it's got to be something that I'm really strongly opinionated on. Then we're gonna duke it out. And then it'll go my way. But 9 times out of 10, it's gonna go with whatever he says, because I'm such a free-spirited person. I love tattoos. I love piercings. I love businesses. I'm not scared to jump and do stuff. If I lose it, I'll get it again. If I can't find it, I'll find it. If I don't have it, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm that type of person. So my decisions aren't based off of logic. Does this actually make sense for the long haul? I just do what I feel like in the moment. Not even necessarily in that moment, because I'm very much a strategic person. But when my mind is set on something, I don't think about all the variables around it. I'm set on what I want to do. I'm gonna focus on this, figure out how to make it work, and it is what it is. Do you ever feel like I gave pushback on decisions with the kids?
The only thing I was gonna fight you and Kamora on was those piercings. Y'all kind of like snuck into that, because y'all know I was gonna be like, no. Y'all already know.
No, we asked you.
No, not I think the nose, I said yeah, but the rest of them.
Now I didn't know about the lip one.
Yeah.
I wasn't. So when she said her lip, I thought she meant like the inside. I didn't know it was gonna be outside.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. So that's she got us both on that one.
Yeah, that was the only one. But other than that, no. Like you said, I mean, if I say no, then there's reason behind it. Just like with the tattoo thing, I'm telling her no, because like have something to look forward to when you can make your own decision. So then if you still want to tattoo when you get 18, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna have nothing to look forward to if you do everything now.
That's true.
Like you ain't gonna have nothing. You're gonna be like, well, I can't do that. I already did that.
That's
so
very true.
You know what I mean? So that's my only thing with stuff like that. Like tattoos, I got tattoos. But we made Taylor till he was 18 or close to 18. I think he was like
17, I think.
Yeah,
and
but I think it was like right before his birthday.
He went by himself too.
Yeah.
Did you go with him?
I
didn't go with him either.
But he was close to being 18.
Right.
He was like right there.
And I think my thing with the tattoos, I mean, not the tattoos, the piercings, is I've been getting piercings since I was 14. So to me, I'm like, it's just a piercing. Yeah, what's the big deal? Yeah, I've had my nose pierced since I was 14. I got my belly button pierced at like 15 or 16. I can't remember what that was. And then it just went haywire from that point. But yeah, I've just always had piercings and tattoos. So I always felt like you got all this, but then it'll tell your child no. So I put it on you, like, how do you feel about this? Or do you think she should get this? Or do you think she shouldn't get this? You know, this and the third. So a lot of our decisions, and I feel like it helps them too, helps families in general, especially when the dad isn't in the family. Not in the family, I'm sorry. When the dad isn't in the house, that kind of helps with the kids on dad still being the authority.
Mm-hmm.
And I purposely wanted it that way for that reason. So no matter what, even though he's not in this household with us, he's still in authority of you all.
Right.
Even when I remarried, that was so. If you're wondering what the headbutt was with the new husband versus the ex-husband, is I never allowed my new husband to have any say with the kids, because he is 100% provider, and he was physically present in their life 100%, to the point where we lived in the same subdivision on the same street. So even when they go with their dad for the weekend, they ride in the same bus.
Yep.
They just getting off a couple houses up the street versus on another street, or him having to pick them up on Fridays. And even when you moved, you were still in the same school district. That was the main issue that he had. Like, why does he always want to stay so close to you? He's not staying close to me. He's staying close to his kids, so that when he gets them on the weekend, they can still ride the same school bus. So, y'all, I had it made. Shout out to me. Shout out to Tori. He had them every single weekend for years. They would leave my house on Friday mornings to go to school, and they would ride the bus home with him Friday and get on the bus Monday. So it's not like I have to drop them off or meet him on Friday nights, and then sometimes Sunday, my Sunday's cut short. Literally, Friday I don't see him at all. Saturday I don't see him at all. Sunday I wouldn't see him at all. And this was every single weekend. This wasn't even every other weekend. You ain't want to do anything? Oh, you got that lane and all of them
But
too.
I mean, also when I want to do stuff, I would. When we used to travel, then I would, I would stay with y'all that weekend. But yeah, I mean, I'm a homebody anyway, so
yeah, he definitely was.
I wasn't going to the club or nothing. So I mean, if I did want to do something, they can be there or they can come. So it wasn't a big deal.
And then sometimes they would go to Nana Lane's house. So I think people should do that too. Like, I have a friend that if her kid's father has something to do on his weekend, he'll just tell her he can't get them that weekend, which I think is so completely unfair. I feel like if that is your weekend with your kids, you got to figure that out. You got to call your sister, call grandma. They got to go to grandma's house. Like, if you have to work on the weekend, like, I don't know, they're making me do overtime and I can't get them this weekend. No, you still supposed to get them, and you figure out what to do with them on your weekend.
Absolutely.
Then you got the parents that'll pick the kids up and go drop them off at
Somebody
grandma's
house. Yeah, they don't spend no time with them.
No time with them. They just have them in their possession to say, I got my kids.
Yeah.
I used to call somebody a social media dad. Because whenever we would argue, that's when he want to go spill the town with his kids. We'll have a bad day or a bad weekend. He'll go get his kids, and they all on social media. I'm like, oh, you such a social media dad.
Flexing.
Is there anything? He said, yeah, I agree. You figure it out. These your kids too. Yeah, you have to. And that's where I feel like a lot of co-parenting seems to be hard, especially now in 2024. Like, women aren't trusting men, and men aren't trusting women. Even when it comes to relationships and dating, you literally have to be extremely careful, because I'm hearing way more stories now, and I guess it's because it's the age of technology and social media, that people are touching kids. Like, you date a guy, I'm dating a guy, and I have no idea he's touching my kids. You just don't know. So that's one thing. Like, just be careful of who you're dating, but also have a good co-parenting relationship with your kid's mother or father. You have to get on the same page. We never sat down and was like, this is what we're going to do with the kids. We kind of just go situation to situation and just decide what's the best fit for that. And I think because we both come from good backgrounds, good families, have good character, that it made it a lot easier with us. Like, even if we felt some type of way about or towards each other, we never made it an uncomfortable situation with us, with the kids, I feel like.
That's right.
And again, we were married on paper 14 years, together 12, and we've never like really truly had a big fallout.
No.
Even going through divorce.
Right.
So I think just having respect for each other is top tier need for co-parenting. Like, if y'all don't respect each other, y'all can try to disagree on whatever it is. Y'all still gonna fight at some point. So just learn to have like mutual respect for each other. Figure out what everybody played in the part of breakup. And if you never dated whatsoever, I don't know what to tell you from that point because y'all don't even know each other. But you can build a friendship with the person that you have a child with without it being sexual, being emotional, and using the kid as a weapon.
Right.
You got any questions or anything to add?
No, I just think y'all do. I mean, you do it the right way, and it shows not just in your relationship with him, but even with your ex-husband and his kids. It shows how you brought them into your life. You know what I mean? It shows with your bonus daughter. You guys just have the right attitude when it comes to kids. Like,
Yeah.
you have the right attitude when it comes to why you're in the relationship and what the relationship is, whether it is sexual or it is co-parenting. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If anybody wants to call in, we're going to be on for like 3 more minutes. If anybody wants to call in, the telephone number is 404-254-4347. Again, that number is 404-254-4347. Shout out to Dia. She said, I love that. I respect y'all so much for that. Yeah, because I mean, it's so many people that I'm hearing like in their relationships, they are fighting like crazy. They don't get along. They can't figure it out. And the best thing I can say is absolutely do not let these kids make y'all go against each other because they will.
They'll try.
They will. They'll come and tell one person one thing, tell the other person another thing, or they'll go ask one, and then when you say go ask the other one, oh yeah, your daughter want to ask you something too. I ain't gonna say it on air. I'll ask you after. But this one's kind of big, and I'm like, I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. This gonna be between you, your daddy, and these people on this end. So just when it comes to certain things, allow the father to be a decision maker in their life rather than living in your house, because women will say he ain't paying bills over here, he don't get to make no decisions. It's not making decisions of your household. It benefits the kids. It benefits the kids. So just find that way to respect each other. Figure out what happened in the breakup that you need to work on, that person needs to work on. If y'all need to have a sit down and have a closure, if y'all need to figure out like what it was that makes y'all not be able to get along, because one woman I know, she was bitter at the fact that he moved on with somebody so fast after their breakup. And she didn't know the woman, so she didn't want the woman to be a part of the child's life. So she put a barrier in between, not to say that he couldn't see his child, but you can only see him if you come to the house. And so he didn't see his child for almost a year because he didn't want to be dictated in that kind of way. Right. He felt like if I give her the power to do this, she's going to control me and use that kid as a weapon for the rest of our life.
That's true.
And so when she finally got over that phase, then she was able to let him see him again. But if they would have talked and he might have like given his reason of why he might have moved on fast, like they should have just talked to each other and it might have been easier.
You gotta put the kid first. This is always the thing with me.
Hey, you tuned into the L.I.C.K Show. Who we speaking to?
Fine.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
Fine.
Hey, how you doing? You got a question?
Yes.
What's your question?
I want to know if y'all didn't break up when y'all did, would y'all still like be cool? Would y'all still have the same rapport? Like if I would have let it drag, would y'all still? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's Tay. You said,
yes, I said
okay.
Son.
I'm sorry. He said son. I thought you said pom pom. Who the hell is pom pom?
What'd you say?
Okay, question one more time. Ask the question one more time.
I said if y'all didn't break up when y'all did, do y'all think y'all still had the same relationship, like the same rapport? Like if it drug on, would it still be how it is, or how y'all feel?
If we didn't break up when we did. Oh, you mean, okay, I get what he's saying. So if when the relationship went bad, it never really went.
Like we just.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When y'all felt like it was just better to go our separate ways, or was it just like abrupt, random?
I'll let you answer that because I could answer that because I'm the one that wanted the separation. So my view would be different than the person on the opposite end. So I'll let you answer first.
What was the question again?
If was it
Like,
abrupt?
how did the breakup happen for you?
Oh,
And do you feel like if it didn't happen at the time that it did, would we still be cool the way that we are if it would have drug out?
yeah, I would say so. Because again, we've known each other for so long. Like even before we got married, I think we was together for like 5 years before we got
6.
married. So, and and the thing about us too is we kind of grew up together because we both were so young. So we kind of grew up together. So I would say, yeah, we probably still be friends. It was abrupt to me, but it wasn't abrupt to your mom because she was still, she was feeling her way for a while. So to me, it was abrupt, but for her, it was like, I guess, a process.
Mhm.
She kind of went through the phases of whatever. So, but yeah, I would say we still be cool because again, we had a friendship outside of us being in a relationship. We still had a friendship.
Absolutely.
So I would say, yeah, we would still be cool.
Yeah, and I agree with the answer. We would still be cool because the reason I walked away was not something that he did bad. It was just we were growing in different areas and we struggled. We went to counseling to try to figure out like how to make it work. And I didn't know love languages wasn't a thing back then. So it was either y'all are on the same page or y'all not on the same page versus, oh, this is how this person needs to be loved versus this is how that person needs to be loved. So because we didn't have to me, a bad breakup, the friendship was instant for me. Like it wasn't he cheated on me, he beat on me, he like made us lose everything. It wasn't like it wasn't anything like that. It was more so, again, emotion. I was more in my emotions and what I needed as a woman, being a wife to my husband, that we didn't have, like, we weren't on the same page with, to where it wasn't a situation to like, if we divorce, we're never going to get along, if that makes sense. Like it was nothing that he did wrong that would make me not want to be friends with him.
So it was just romance.
So they can hear you. What'd you say, Tay?
I said it was just nothing.
Yeah, it was just like I said, I think the thing was we was kind of growing up together, so we probably didn't know how to navigate our emotions to try to work through whatever we was going through at the time.
Right.
I think we both were so young,
Yes, definitely.
That's how I feel.
Tay, watching your parents and how because you guys have been divorced most of his life, right? How old was he when you got divorced?
Kamora was like 2.
I was like 9.
3,
like 9.
Wait,
7,
what
7,
year?
7, 8. Yeah.
What year?
I think
So
2011, right?
2011.
Yeah, 2011.
So how has watching their relationship influenced you?
In what way?
Hold on, she running to
Well,
the mic.
one, how do you feel about relationships? Or better yet, are you one of those people that feels like if you get in a relationship with somebody and you have a child, that's the only person you want to have a child with? Are you willing to be in a relationship with someone who has children versus someone who doesn't? Like, just how has watching them kind of influenced your decisions on how you want your life to look like in your relationships?
I feel like on like the parent side and like the way they carry themselves in that aspect, yeah, I feel like it's like, but in this generation we cook. So ideally, yeah, I want to, but I just feel like it's harder. It's harder these days because it's like, how she said, and then my mom, yeah, like she said, I learned that too. It's like even worse because usually when you grow up with your mom, you just pick up stuff. So I'm like, dang, a lot of females don't even got these traits. So it's a lot of stuff. It's gonna be harder these days.
Period.
On top of that, it's like her personality, and then on top of how things was back then, the role it's like flip. It's like girls want to prove themselves, and dudes trying to get in where they fit in.
Do you feel like, just to piggyback off of her question, how do you view marriage, even though your parents are divorced? Do you feel affected in any, or even when you were younger, did you feel affected by our divorce? good or bad?
Yeah. Of course, bad. I'm like, dang, that's weird. But
Yeah.
I feel like relationships. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about relationships.
What's your
I
feeling
don't feel
on?
like it's like. I feel like they. I don't know. I don't feel like they're real. Like I told Nell this the other day. I said the only people I ever seen, even like personal, a little bit like reached out, like like maybe friends or people, social media. The only people I know that's married is y'all. So I don't know.
Like Natalie and Papa. Uh,
Gotcha.
I said y'all literally the only people I know that's married still for years.
Sunshine says she's still married.
Oh well, that make you two then, Sunshine.
Well, I mean that's good to know.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know how. I don't know. I don't think they real. I feel like I gotta be like way older. And I feel like there's nothing to think about now.
You say you got to date way older?
Either that or when I get older, because it's just like right now it's nothing to think about.
That's right, because you're only 22.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Yeah, because you would have been getting married or getting in a serious relationship right now would have been you right now at your dad's age back then.
Yeah.
Because we started dating when he was 22. Do you feel
I've been like that though.
You say you've been like that? Tay is you. He is you. He go to work, he come home, he work on his brand, and that's it. Tay ain't outside. He ain't never really been a drinker. He don't really go out to clubs. He don't really. He is you. So I can see him saying that.
But you got time. You only 22.
I just don't take relationships too serious. I just
shouldn't
live in the moment. I just let it be what it be.
Yeah, you shouldn't at this point.
Yeah. Shout out to Melissa. Melissa says she married, Tay. Don't forget about her.
Okay. I'm not even gonna do her like that because
And then Melissa said, Tori, you still her brother. She said she'll divorce me before she accepted divorce from you. And then she said, hey, brother.
Hey, Mel.
Sorry, Auntie.
But yeah. So,
that's 3 people. That's it, though.
That's it?
Yes.
And Auntie Pam and Uncle Jeff.
Auntie Pam and Uncle Jeff.
They've been together since high school.
Yeah.
But you see what I mean, though? You
saying
anybody
that
generation?
Anybody
is older.
Anybody born after the 70s, or
Yeah. No, I get it now. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
That's what I mean. Like when I get older, or just right now, something to think about. And that's why I'm saying y'all times, not like that, but it's like I don't know, maybe in the 2000s or something, maybe, but even y'all times, like before, I think before social media, I guess that's what it's going on.
And that's what I was literally about to say. Y'all come in a generation where you don't have to organically meet somebody outside. Like you can learn somebody's entire life online, whether it's real or not. And it's so much easier to cheat because you can literally sit at home and have 500 emotional relationships, and you can still have 500 physical relationships because everybody is a text message away, a phone call away, an Instagram DM away. And literally, I was just about to say flights. Wait for a Tuesday when the flights are cheap. You can fly somebody out to see you. And it might not even be the same type of person, like you said, that they're not real, because people are learning people's lifestyle online. So when you meet that person, you think that's who they are. And like you said, that's not true. Versus back in the day, you had to physically meet up to get to know each other.
That's why I told Wilson now one day.
A certain radius of meeting somebody. Exactly. You ain't meeting and falling in love with somebody in Florida.
Yeah.
And you live in Georgia and you meeting somebody and falling in love. A shout out to my homegirl, Shantae Renee. They were married to a woman that lived in New England. You're not meeting somebody in New England back in the day.
Yeah.
You got to meet somebody that went to your school, your church, lived in your neighborhood. Y'all mamas was friends.
Yeah.
That's how you met somebody. So that's what makes it harder for y'all. Walking distance, exactly. And the courting system was different. The man would bring flowers. He'd pick you up for a date. Nowadays, man can't bring you flowers and pick you up for a date. He got to get your hair done, your nails done. Make sure you get food for my kids. Yeah. It's a lot different dating now versus when we were younger. versus when Nana Lane was younger?
Because it's
Do you feel
brainwashing,
like
bro.
y'all treated the children differently from it being a boy and a girl, or do you?
Oh, say it to the mic so they can hear you too.
Like I don't work.
Right. What'd you say, Sunshine?
Do you
Hold
think
on.
you treated the?
You
oh,
asked this question to us?
yeah, but I want to see what his response to it,
That's
like
what
if
I
he
was
felt
asking.
different.
Okay.
Yeah. So, do you think you treated the children differently versus it being a boy and a girl, or do you think you just raised them based upon their personality? And Tay, whatever their answer is, do you think they lying?
I would say I probably treat them differently because I think I'm more protective of Kimura. I think it's just a natural feeling for a dad.
Mhm.
But I also was protective of Tay too, honestly. So I think it's probably more personality based as far as the way I treat them.
That's my answer. My answer isn't gender. I do. Okay, so to answer the question, yes, I treat them differently, case by case scenario. So the kids are us in different realms.
That's right.
Tay is the emotional one like me. When I see Tay, we can give each other 5,000 hugs and never feel like we're hugging each other too much. You try to give Kimura one hug, and she's like, look, I hugged you last week.
Yeah.
You want another hug?
She like me in
So
that.
when it comes to certain things, I feel like Tay might be too emotional for this. So I would treat him a certain way in this scenario versus Kimura. I know she can handle it in this scenario. And then it might flip. Kimura might be way too, I don't even like to use the word gullible. She may not be as knowledgeable in certain areas that I would want her to be in, where I would be more protective of her in this, where I know Tay ain't finna play that. So it just depends on what the scenario is. But yes, I do treat them different, but not from gender to gender.
Yeah, I think it's personality. I think it's more personality based for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if Kimura wanted to go, if both of them came to me and was like, me and my friends are going on a vacation out of the state, I would be way more worried for Kimura getting to the airport and getting where she needs to go and all of this stuff versus Tay. But I feel like talking to people and meeting people in the different scenarios, I have no problem with Kimura being like, get out my face versus Tay. So it just depends on both of them going out of the state, how I would be nervous for both in completely different areas.
Take Sunshine said your time to
I
rebuttal.
feel like that's true for the most part, but most of it is like I wouldn't know because it's their parent perspective, so they see us differently. But I feel like they treated us fairly, but to like how they said they treated us fairly, but tended to us accordingly because she a girl and I'm a boy. So
okay,
and I'm older, so it's kind of by default. She younger and a girl, and I'm older and a boy.
Right. Tell you, your Uncle Quinn said tell you that he married too.
Everybody like, come on, stop playing with me.
It, y'all popping it,
it's just us that's not married, Tay.
But look, no.
He said we're the only ones that matter.
No offense, though. I'm referring to like
older.
I don't even know if I say that.
Your generation?
No, like 5 years plus, like years. You know what I'm saying? Like years.
Oh, years in the game.
Y'all newly married. Congratulations.
Okay, so 10-year plus, like 10-year plus marriages. 15,
yeah, they
20.
beat the clock.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense. Sunshine says she
still
got that though.
Think if you got married like after 2015 or like 2020, I don't know. If you got married in quarantine times, you over with.
That's a COVID love story.
Some people different though.
But he's true though. Yeah, that is true. So the younger and even me, I feel like I come through the not even a newer generation, but my mentality of why. So I'll even give my why of we separated. I'm a highly emotional person, and I'm very physical. I'm very vocal. So it would be something as small as me getting my hair done, and I sat in the shop for 10 hours, and I get home like, ooh, Tori gonna be like, and he'd be like, what you want for dinner? He didn't notice my hair. And so it was like little things like that to where I'm like, you can't leave a person because they didn't compliment your hair or because they don't hold your hand or they don't want to give you a kiss or y'all don't go on dates all the time. But in 2024, had love languages been a thing, then I'll be like, oh, this is why he thinks, okay, so this is how he needs to be loved. Let me channel this. And then he might have thought the same way. This is what she needs. Let me channel that.
Mm-hmm.
So because back then, when you're not doing that stuff to your partner, it makes it feel like they don't even like you like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, well, we have an amazing bond with the kids and we have an amazing friendship. But when it came to the connection as husband and wife, I just felt it was a huge disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the difference in why we didn't work. So I don't know if I think I told you that before though, but I'm not sure. But if I didn't, that was what it was. So when I say we never argued, we never had a bad falling out. He didn't cheat on me. He didn't beat on me. He paid the bills. Like everything was going great. So I'm like, you know how they say the 80-20 rule. And I kept saying, like, now thinking back, I was thinking that, but it just didn't have a name to it. I was like, he does so many amazing things on this end. It's just this little thing. Maybe I don't feel like being loved, but it's okay.
It was a little thing, but it was a big thing.
It was huge. That's like huge to me.
Uh-huh.
And like the whole zodiac signs and love languages, Pisces are very feminine. They're very dainty. They're very emotional. They're very submissive.
Uh-huh.
So they need a lot.
Uh-huh.
And he's very nonchalant. He's very chill. You can love him and you don't have to show a lot for him to feel love.
Uh-huh.
And so I didn't understand that. I didn't understand like he loves differently. I took it like he doesn't love you. That's the difference.
Uh-huh.
So that's where we were with it. You still there, Tay?
Oh, he probably gone.
Oh.
My fault. Yeah, I was listening.
You probably had it on mute.
Melissa said, "You're too touchy-feely, honey."
Yeah, Melissa, my sister, she's so weird. She a Cancer, and she don't like to be like. I hug her every time. I hug everybody every time I see them. I hug you every time I see you. I'm just a hugger. My son is a hugger. My daughter's not a hugger. Tori's not a hugger.
Right.
So everybody's different. Everybody don't want to be touched all the time, and I had to learn that over the years. Huh?
I only hug girls, by the way.
He said he only hug girls, by the way. They're like, ooh, Tay say he gonna give me a hug.
They look good. I'm like, hey, how you doing?
You're not trying to hug, sir, ma'am?
I ain't trying to hug nobody except a girl. Or
Nah,
a
I
woman.
feel you. Any other questions you have, Tay? Because we're about to log off in a minute.
Unless somebody got a question for me, nope.
You got a question for Tay?
Mm-mm.
Nope. Thank you for calling in, son.
No problem.
Love you.
Love you too. Love y'all too.
Love you, man.
And then that's even the difference between the two. You tell Kamora you love her, she's like, love you. It's like, ouch. You would swear this girl ain't never been hugged. There was a reel on Instagram, and they was like, this is how you can tell a child has been touched when they don't come forward and tell you that a person has touched them. And they was like, they'll feel uncomfortable being touched. They're quiet in the room. They're da-da-da-da. And I was like, dang, they just described my daughter, but Kamora only been with me and you.
Yeah.
She barely go to Nana Lane. She don't go to my family. So I'm like, that can't be true because my daughter is just like her dad. They don't like to be touched like that. So I had to comment on there. I was like, not to discredit or victim shame. Some people don't like hugs. George. And some people just don't need all that to feel loved. And I'm a person like, if I can't overshadow you with my love, if I can't overpour with my love, I'm like, I'm giving. That's how I feel loved. That like giving to somebody makes me happy. Seeing somebody else smile makes me happy. So if I'm doing this and you're doing this, that like changes my whole day. That changes my world. So we just had to learn that we have different love languages that kind of just clashed. But our friendship was always top tier.
Right.
We used to, back in the day, go downtown. Like we used to wear like matching shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Every weekend we go downtown. Now we got money to pay for rent, or we got money to buy shoes. We're going to worry about that rent later. We're going to go buy them shoes. And then we're going to call my dad, and he going to give us the rent money.
Yep.
So we good either way.
Shout out to Papa Tone.
Papa Tone. That's part of my problem. Shout out to Papa Tone. I have always been spoiled. So sometimes it's hard to date a female who has a dad. They say it's always hard when a woman doesn't have a dad in her life. Some women might be hard to date because they have a dad. If their dad is present, if their dad's spoiled. I am spoiled. So I remember one time where I was pregnant with Tavy. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a job coming down the line. My mom was like, okay, she's pregnant. She's about to have a child. They got a place together. She's going to need a car. So they agreed to get me a car. My mom and dad agreed to get me a car. They found the car. All he was supposed to do was take me to pick this car up. Guess what we do? We get there and I see this, what was it?
Ford Explorer.
This Ford Explorer. It was like
limited
this
edition.
Limited edition. It had all the bells and whistles. It was about $20K. It was about $350 a month, and it plus insurance. And I was like, I want that car. And he's like, yes, baby girl, you can have it. So we get back. My mom was pissed. Who's supposed to pay for this? We both like, So blame my dad. I always get what I want. Then I get with him. I'm a senior in high school, moving with him. I ain't paying no bills. When we separated at the age of 29 for me, I had to learn how to call places and pay. I didn't even know how to pay bills. Almost 30 years old, not knowing how to pay bills. And then my homegirl was like, you can pay on that, right? I'm like, really? I had to learn how to be an adult. At 42 years old, my car insurance is always higher because I've never had car insurance in my name. So it's just certain things that it's just a little harder for me versus other people where I felt like if we would have stuck with the counseling back then, we probably still, because people ask that all the time, with the times of how it is now versus then, do you think y'all would have made it? I honestly believe like we probably still would have been married if I took some of those emotions out. But you do have a great point that if that 80-20 and that 20 was my 80, that makes a big deal. But I just always felt like seeing marriages that last forever, that went through horrible things, I stayed years because I'm like, he didn't do nothing wrong. You can't leave somebody unless they do something wrong. So I just kind of tried to figure that part out. So that's why it wasn't a hatred when we did separate, because I'm like, I felt like I was to blame for this 20% that I needed, if that makes sense. Nana Lane, shout out to Nana Lane. That's his mom, my mom. Love is a commitment more than an emotion. Absolutely. I just read something this morning that said love is a choice. You have to, I didn't read it. Ice Cube. Somebody was asking Ice Cube how he stayed married. He's been married for Cam Newton. He's been married for 34 years, I think. Over 30 years. And he was like pretty much saying in a nutshell, love is a choice. He was like, you have to literally wake up every single day and choose to be in this relationship. He was like, my wife is mine. She belongs to me. I'm her husband. I belong to her. And you have to diligently every single day, sometimes hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute, to make it work. So I don't know. I just think, speaking on me too, we're just so quick to give up on relationships, good or bad. Sometimes it might be a bad relationship. And I tell my friends all the time, even though I am divorced, I am a 100% advocate for marriage. And I look at relationships and marriage like a clock. 12 is like, oh my gosh, it's the honeymoon stage. We're so in love. Oh my gosh, he's my person. Babe, I love you. You my everything. Then you get to 3 o'clock. You kind of settled in that relationship. Y'all know each other now. You're starting to notice some flaws, but you're still in love because you remember the 12. Then you get down to the 6. You can't get no worse than 6 because there's nothing to go down from 6 on a clock. And you don't remember the 3. You barely remember it. You remember some good times, some bad times. You damn sure don't remember the 12 because you don't got so far down. I think when people get a divorce, it's because they got to the 6 part and gave up. If you get to the 6 and you think about your life and your relationship as a clock, think at some point you got to get to 9. And if you can get to 9 from 6, you definitely can get to 12 from 9. So I always look like in my future. That's why I say I'm still working on myself. I'm not trying to get into no relationships, nothing like that right now, because I want to have that mentality of a clock. It's going to start at 12. At some point, if you're going to be forever with somebody, you're going to hit that 6. And then at that 6, it's got to go back up to 12 because what's going to be worse than 6? Right. It's got to go. Anything at the bottom has to come back up at some point. So if you are married, if you are even in a co-parenting and you're divorced, like we're saying, co-parenting after divorce, whatever starts out great and it ends up horrible, you can always get back to great if you just figure it out. Have a conversation, talk to each other, go to counseling, because sometimes it could be you. Whoever I'm talking to, it could be absolutely you and not the other person. That's all I got to say.
George says Kels is the toxic one.
George always says me. I don't be doing nothing. I'm just the love bomb queen. I mean, and I will call him and be like, guess what this person did, or guess what this person bought, and he'd be like, what? So I just told him the other day, I said, dang, we due for a phone call, because it's been like a month or two. Yeah. Again, when he gets in a relationship, I kind of fall back. But yeah, we do. What advice for other couples? That is literally my advice for other couples, is to think of your relationship like the hours on the clock. Mm-hmm. I can't think of no other way to put it. Everything is going to go the way it is. I'm probably going to get like a billion hate mail messages for this, but I'm not going to say 100%, because I never, ever in the 14 years we were together felt like he ever cheated on me. He even used to go out of town to his baby mama house to get his son. And I'd be at the house. I don't even have to go with you, because I trust you and I trust her. If something ever happened, then y'all had a whole life of keeping that a secret. But just the way the world is, and like we talked about social media and all that, I feel like if you're going to be forever with somebody, in my mind, this is not how women think. This is just Kels. I feel like somebody cheated, or somebody has cheated within that relationship. So going into relationships now, and I always say this, if you put 100 women in a room and they all have broken up with their last person, I can almost guarantee, and I'll put money on it, at least 90 of them have left a relationship from getting cheated on. Mm. So my mentality is, if you're in a relationship and you got cheated on, again, this is just me. This is Kels. This ain't nobody else. You feel how you feel. Your self-esteem, or whatever you want to call it, that can't be my end result of a relationship. Because if this person cheated on me and I break up with them, now I'm with this person. This person cheats, I break up with them. Now I'm with this person. Mm-hmm. Either I'm just going to stay single for the rest of my life, or I'm going to try to work through 6. That's my 6. You cheat on me, that's my 6. How do we go from 6 back to 12? And I'm not saying this as a single person, like, oh shit, Kels gonna let me cheat on her. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, there's gonna be a rock bottom in every relationship, whether it's infidelity, whether it's financial, even physical abuse. It's people in my family who have physically been abused for years. And now if you look at their relationship now, you would never think they ever went through that. I have people that'll be like, oh my gosh, like, I love their relationship. In my mind, like, if you ever saw how it was prior to, like, you would be shocked that they're even still together. That was their 6. So that is my my advice for couples. What's your advice for couples?
My advice for couples: if you're gonna get in a relationship with anybody, you should always try to put that person first. And for guys, don't get in a relationship with a woman if you need to cheat. There is no point. You already got the freedom you want before you get there. So why go there? Just stay single. You can do what you want to do. You ain't hurting nobody. You know, I've never been a person to cheat, because for me, women just too much already.
And so, I know I was a lie.
you can deal with 2 or 3 of them, bless you, because I can't do it. So yeah, if you're a guy and you married, just make sure don't cheat on your wife, because for what? You're gonna make a temporary decision, and it's gonna have a permanent effect on you and her and your family. So ask yourself, is it worth it? Probably not. Those little 5 minutes. Chill out, bro.
Not the 5 minute, man. Is it worth it?
It's not the question of the
day. Same for the women. Same for the women. You got a man on this end and he's doing everything right, but you got this one over here who's flashy, who has more money, he's doing more things, and you're like, dang, like, that's where I'm supposed to be. This is who, like, I don't want this life. He ain't doing enough. It ain't worth it.
Right.
Like he said, a little 5 minutes, that little Gucci bag,
right,
that little trip to the Bahamas, and then you come back and he taking somebody else next week.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess that's our advice. If there's no more questions, you can keep leaving questions on YouTube. We won't be there, but we'll check them and I'll respond as needed. Again, you are tuned into the L.I.C K Show with your girl Kels, and we got Tori on the line. Do you even want to give your social media out?
No, because I don't be on there like that.
He really don't. This was a stretch, y'all. I have had this radio station since April of 2019. Have never got this man to agree. I asked him, I was like, let me just ask him again. He's like, sure. I was like, wait a minute. And I know I'd be sleepy. Did he just agree? So I was like, yeah, let me make sure I do this when I know he's gonna be off, when he has the time. So I just truly appreciate you. And so I hope that answers a lot of people's questions that ask me all the time. Like, why are you and your ex, like, why are y'all divorced? Y'all get along so great. Now you're gonna have all the answers. You're asking questions how we get along with the kids. Now you have all of those answers. You know my background of like how I move in relationships. You know his. He's in a healthy, from what I'm hearing, your healthiest relationship you've ever had.
Yeah.
Healthiest relationship he's ever had. I'm completely single, and we still have an amazing relationship to where it is completely platonic, and there's no jealousy, there's no hate. I wish him well. I can't wait to meet her. And I'm just glad that you are the person that you are, and I'm grateful that you didn't make me a bitter baby mama. Oh, real quick too, because people asked about that too. Why I never put him on child support. That goes back to our character of how we are as human beings. Again, I met somebody that was taking care of a child that didn't belong to him. We were together for 14 years. There's no way that I would not have trusted that he would take care of his kids. So I didn't feel the need to put him on child support when I can go straight to him. We can have conversations, build a friendship. We have respect for each other. So there was no need to have the courts involved. And keep in mind, I still remember what he said too. They actually, the amount that they wanted to give me would have covered my mortgage completely. He was like, dang, I'm gonna have to stay at my mama's house. You remember saying that?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, the judge was forcing. He was damn near trying to force it. He was like, I don't want you to come back later saying that he wasn't paying. I was like, I trust him. He's like, they all say that. Yeah, but I really trust him. He's like, I'm telling you, I hear this every week. Dude, leave me alone. I don't want to put him on child support. I have never regretted that decision because of the person that he is, the father that he is, and the friend he has always been to me. So thank you. Love you.
Love you back.
All right. Thank y'all. So y'all tuned in to the L.I.C K Show on Hits 92.3, and we'll be back next week. Peace.
Every day is a new choice. We make our beds and we lie in them. Who do you want to lay down with? Choose wisely. Met you on Friday, picked you up on Saturday. Sunday night you calling me over and over and over again, telling me that you're ready to rock me steady, rock steady. I got you so addicted, I should've never let you taste my love, my love. Damn right I wanna see you again, but I'm not ready for no love affair. Still you ask me what is happening, when I told you that my heart wasn't there. I handle business on the weekday, but you can have me on the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you wanna be my weekend lover, it's gonna be hard to leave. Take it from me, from me, from me. Take it from me, from me, from me. If you wanna be my weekend lover, it's gonna be hard to leave. Take it from me, from me, from me. Gonna be hard. Take it from me, from me, from me. Oh. Damn right I wanna see you again, but